This is Real Politics.
Unmute. Yay. How y'all doing? So,
Awesome.
Debbie, how do you think of our new intros? This is your first time with the new intro. How do you like it?
Yeah, it's great. And I have to tell you, so Judge David Newell and Judge Kevin Yeary. So in 2014, I sang for them at their inauguration. They asked me to go and sing the national anthem at the state capitol when they were getting inaugurated at that year. And it was super cool. They're friends of mine. So it was super cool to see them.
It's cool. Yeah. No, yeah. They were on our show during early voting. Jennifer, Knesek, I want to say that. I'm not really good at last names sometimes. And she wants to help with the show. And so she introduced us to us and it was great having them. They were a blast. Judge Newell is hilarious.
He's funny. He's funny as all get out. He really is.
Yeah, he is. So
they're both really nice people.
So
and, very just down to earth. So so David, we lived in the same county for many years, and so
Fort
that's
Bend?
how I knew him. Yeah.
Before Fort Bend became, I don't know what it is anymore. I don't recognize it at all. It's just weird. Guys, welcome to Real Politics Live. We have with us Debbie D'Souza, movie producer, executive movie producer of Infidel, which you can buy now. And I know one of our friends, Claudia, already has it. So go out and buy Infidel if you didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, right? It's available?
Yes, absolutely. So not only is it available on DVD now at stores and everywhere you buy DVDs, but they also now have the rental on all of the platforms. iTunes and Amazon Prime and everything else, cable, everything.
Yeah, so go out and do that if you haven't seen it. It'd be a great thing, especially during Christmas week when your kiddos are like, it's perfectly safe, right, for kiddos to be able to watch?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay, how old do you have to be to watch this show?
So there's a lot of strong language coming from the terrorist.
Okay.
So if your children are not used to hearing that kind of language, then I would say no. And it is violent too. So I personally would not let my children watch something like that because obviously violence is real in our world. And especially if you get kidnapped in an Iranian prison, you're not going to be singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, right? So yeah, I would say it's a rated R movie. So
okay, well,
that's what I was
never mind.
saying.
Forget no kiddos then. I have a teenager and we watch older movies. We watch them together and we actually watch Game of Thrones together. But I would watch it first and know where the bad stuff is, and then okay, close your eyes and turn fast forward because she liked story. My little girl is just very adult for her age, and she's very mature, so she's able to. So hey, it was an awesome movie. Claudia has it. Yay. And we also have with us, hey Oscar, how are you doing? We also have with us Royal Ray Martinez, the great Royal, one of our new hosts on the show. He's not a guest, he's a host, and there's a reason for that. Hey Anna, how are you doing? Good afternoon.
Hey,
good evening. And I think the moon is out now. My little boy was ecstatic to see the moon outside because he's like, it's daylight, Daddy. There's the moon. Look, move the car. I want to see the moon because he likes to see the moon. He's excited. We told him about the Jupiter and the Saturn star that's going to come out next Monday. So he's all excited about that. So we have with us, we're not going to have Debbie very long. She's only with us for 30 minutes because Dinesh is going to be doing a Fox News hit. And so the first thing I'm going to ask is, y'all are still watching Fox?
So I have to tell you the truth. No.
Okay.
Come on, come fast.
No. But Dinesh does go on the Laura Ingraham show weekly. And so he was on last night, and I didn't think he was going to be on tonight again, but he is.
With Laura or with Sean Hannity?
Laura, no, he's going to be on the Laura Ingraham.
Again. Okay. All right. I'll DVR it then, even though I don't watch Fox News anymore. I don't even watch Tucker.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really supposed to talk about Fox, actually, but I will say.
Okay, well, let's not talk about Fox.
No, it's okay because I have a big mouth.
So do I, apparently.
So no, I think it's a little. See, here's my take on this whole thing with Fox, is that we, the left has every mainstream media outlet out there, right? They have ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, if I go on and on and on. We didn't really have Fox. I mean, everybody thinks we had Fox, but we didn't really have Fox because Fox has always touted being fair and balanced. And you know what that means? That means that they show our side and they show their side, and they make the viewer decide which side is correct, right? They don't tell you which side is correct, but they make the viewer. Now there are journalists and there are pundits, right? And so the pundit has an opinion, and he is able to state his opinion. And if you don't like the show and you don't like the direction of the show, you don't have to watch, right? That would be the Hannitys, the Lauras, the Tuckers. However, I don't know that they themselves are able to tell their side anymore. And I'll just leave it at that. And so what I'm saying is now it seems that conservatives don't have even a fair and balanced media outlet, right? They have no media outlet except for maybe Newsmax and OWN, which are quite small. If you think about it, they're very, very small. They don't compete with CNN. They don't compete with any of the large networks. So we actually do need a large network, like a really large one, not one that is 5 million viewers, right? One that has 20 million, 30, 40, 50 million viewers.
A mega network.
Like the ABCs of our world, right? So something like that. That is what we need. We need something that has not just 24-hour news, but also has talk shows and comedy shows. Because guess what? The indoctrination is not just news shows. It's comedy shows. It's The View. It's The Talk. Those shows have a point of view, and it's always left. And so when you have, someone like my mom, hi mom, she might be watching, but
you never know. So you'd be like, "Hey, mom."
Someone like my mom, if she's watching and she doesn't really know, the left, the right, the Democrat, the Republican, nothing like that. And she watches The View thinking that she's going to get entertainment out of it. And all she gets is these women spewing hatred towards Trump or Republicans.
Right.
What is she going to think? She's going to think, oh, wow, well, maybe they're right. Maybe the Trump and Republican people really are like that. And, my mom obviously knows that that's not the case. But there are ladies like my mom that wouldn't know that. So, again, this is the reason why we have to have a network that has shows, that has variety shows and all of that show that are not ideological, right? I would prefer to have a network that does not talk about politics at all than one that only talks about that side of the aisle, right? So that is my beef with these networks. Listen, I'm not telling them to start talking about how, Republicans are not racist and Republicans are this or that or the other. I'm just telling them to shut up with the Democrat talking points. That's all. Is that a lot to ask? I mean, come on.
No, I feel the same way. I mean, I see the whole. I think we've talked about it a little bit before. This whole idea of the national, oh, what is this? Oh, okay, cool. I was like, wait, what is the crawl? I haven't seen that crawl. The Latinx thing, which really bothers me. It just beyond bothers me because it feels like it's appropriating our culture. It's appropriating our language. And you and I both speak Spanish. I mean, I'm not born in Mexico, but I do have, but I have family heritage from Mexico and Spain, as many of the people here in the Valley do. And it bothers me that we're just using this Latinx thing and it's being done and indoctrinated into schools. And I've seen it with even my own little girl. It's like, well, why can't we say it? And I have to explain it to her that, the X doesn't mean, oh, we're not doing some sort of a gender. The X just means you just want to, it doesn't exist. It's actually like we don't know what our true last names are because somehow or another the Eurocentric Spanish conquistadors were raping indigenous women and made us. And so we don't really know what our new last name is. Kind of what happened with Malcolm X. And when he changed his name, he said, my last name is X because I really don't know what my real last name is. And it's wrong. And so having to explain that to children, not every parent can do that. And that's troubling for me.
My name is Debbie Columbus.
There you go. It's not Debbie X, it's Debbie Columbus. There you go.
Columbus was my
There you go. Guys, if you have any questions for Debbie while we have her on before 8 o'clock, put them on there. I'd love to. I'm sure. Claudia's saying, thank you so much for sending me the Trump card. I really appreciate it. It meant a lot for me. Thank you so much. I think, you're not supposed to say anything, Claudia. Don't say anything. But I can tell you that she cried. And it was like, right, Claudia? She's like so excited, emotional. And that's why we love Claudia. She's very mad at me because I didn't tell everybody that we were having a late show last night, but we sort of did, Claudia. We sort of said, hey, we may or may not do one last night because I work on Wednesday nights, but I'm free. We can do that. And Miss Producer says, everyone is always mad at Roman. It's very true. And after Debbie leaves, we'll be talking about one particular individual who's just mad at me. Oscar, how you doing? Raymond, this is awesome. Great. Hey, Sharky, we had her on the show last night as a guest, sort of like a surprise guest. Still think Trump's going to buy out a big network after all this. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't see why he just doesn't go up and say, Newsmax guy, hey, your buddy, I'm going to buy you out, because he has the resources there. What bothers me about Newsmax is their crawl. It's just so bleh. It's like it doesn't give any in-depth stuff, and it feels kind of, 80s.
Well, I will say this, though. Unfortunately, a Newsmax or an OWN are not enough because they're not going to get that many viewers. There's just no way. They're not in all the cable channel lineups. So it's very difficult to get a network such as those two to be super big. Now, it's not to say that you can't do it. It's just difficult. And so it takes a lot of money, probably a couple of $1 billion, which, seems like a lot, and it is. But it does take a lot of money to get a network going off the ground. And maybe even more than $2 billion for a network like what I'm talking about.
Right.
So,
and I'm willing to help any way I can, because I know that you and Dinesh are thinking about it. We've talked about this before on the show. Because Debbie's a great person, because she's regularly on our show, and we're going to keep her because she's not going anywhere other than here. I'm just kidding. She's ours, she's our Debbie, because we love. And so any way I can help, and I've never invested, but this is something that I believe in. I believe in some sort of a media thing. It's not like some sort of jumping ground to run for office. It's actually, I want to help people. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, not unfortunately. I'm going to read the question. And for those of you who are new to the show, I read the questions because I can turn this video stream into an audio podcast. That's an option. So if I don't read the comments, you can't hear it. You can't see it if I do a podcast. Anyway, Elbrad's question is just like, he pardoned your husband. Who do you think Trump should pardon next? Do you have any idea?
Actually, no, because I don't really know who. I mean, no, I don't. Now, I don't know if I've told you the story of how Trump actually pardoned Dinesh.
I think you did, but you can remind some of the new viewers that we have.
So our connection wasn't actually with Trump. It was with Ted Cruz, who's a friend.
Our friend, yes.
And so we had dinner with him and his wife, Heidi. And, Ted, being the nice guy that Ted is, asked me, is there anything I can do for you guys? And I knew that he was, that he and Trump had kind of reconciled their differences and they worked together. So I just said, hey, listen, if you can, would you please ask the president to give Dinesh a pardon? Because we all know how all that happened. And
it was massively political, yes. Right.
So he was like, absolutely. And Dinesh wasn't so sure that it was going to happen. But, when Ted says he's going to do something, he does it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was going to happen. And it literally happened exactly 30 days from that night. that we don't know with him. So, apparently he was in the car with him at some point. I think they had gone to the NRA convention in Dallas together. And he basically said, hey, Dinesh D'Souza, his case. And I think Trump said, yeah, he got screwed, and so he's like, well, you can make it right. And Trump goes, done. And so, of course, it has to go into the DOJ and all of those things. They have to get the legal ready and all of that. So it's a process. And I really feel bad because a lot of people will ask me, well, can you ask Trump to pardon so-and-so? Or can you ask Trump, and it's like, that's not how it works. And I don't have that kind of pool. I mean, I really don't, and I'm not going to go ask Ted for another favor.
No, but I think
that was our card, right?
That's all you had. That was your trump card.
I got a couple of tickets. Can you ask Trump to pardon me?
No. Okay. Another question. If you have any, feel free. Oh, Miss Producer says, for those who do not know, what was he pardoned for? Miss Producer is asking this question.
Yeah. So, this is interesting because this is why it's such a hoax, kind of crock, kind of whatever you want to call it. Because basically what happened is a friend of his was running for Senate in New York many years ago. I think in 2012, I think was when she was running, or 2014, one of those years, and or 13. But anyway, so Dinesh had gone to college with this woman. Now she was running against, is it Hildebrand? Anyway, she's a senator in New York. And there was no way she was going to win. Number one, because the area that she was running in was very Democratic, so there was no way. But she wanted to run, and I think she had kind of exhausted her campaign finance and all of that. And so basically, she had asked Dinesh for a favor, like to speak at one of her events or something, and he couldn't because he was very busy. Dinesh has always been a really busy person, like speaking at all of these events throughout the year. So that was no different, right? He had just done Obama's America not too long before that, 2016 Obama's America, which the first movie, right? That talked about Obama, and it was very, very damning to Obama. He exposed him for the fraud that he is, and Obama didn't like that. But anyway, set that aside, he did this. And so what happened was, this is why it's so like, it just needs to be changed, okay? Because the campaign finance is such that I believe per couple you can give $5,000, I believe, or something like that. I don't even know the number, but you can't exceed it per calendar year, or per, I guess,
run a primary or general election, depending. Yes.
So anyway, so if you do, you're maxed out. You can't give to another candidate because you've already given to that one, et cetera, right? So Dinesh just thought, you know what? I cannot speak at these events, but she's a good friend, and she doesn't have very much money in her campaign finance coffer or whatever. So I'd like to give her a good cushion, right? But he knew he couldn't, and he was like, okay, I'm just going to ask this person and this person and this person, can they please, help? And I'll pay them back. It's not like they're, like it's money out of their pocket. I'll pay them back eventually. So somehow, some way, someone found out. And of course, the DOJ was all too willing to get him because, of course, we all know who the DOJ was at the time, right? Holder. And so anyway, so that is what happened. The FBI followed him around, probably tapped his apartment. He lived in New York at the time. They spent about $100,000. $100,000. A
lot of money.
Investigating, getting all the books, reading all the books. And so when Dinesh found out later of the investigation, they actually wrote that Dinesh was a right-wing conspiracy theorist, or whatever you want to call it, right? And so they did that, and they spent all that money going after him and everything. It turns out that the judge did not want to hear other case. You know how when they sentence you, they want to see what other person did the exact same thing and what did they get, right?
Right. Right.
There was absolutely zero people that did what Dinesh did. That is, no quid pro quo. No, I'm going to get a position in your cabinet. None of that. That just doesn't happen. People do not go to jail or halfway house or, or any of that.
It just doesn't happen.
Or become indicted, and sentenced or anything if they do that. Only if it's like a really big amount and it's like corruption behind it.
Right. Usually it's just a simple fine and that's it. No criminal thing. Is civil thing.
And not even a simple fine. Not even a simple fine.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So recently Dinesh saw that in the Biden campaign, there was about 200 pages.
That's a lot.
Of people listed with people that had gone over the campaign finance limit.
Mm-hmm.
None of those people got anything. Nothing.
Nada.
Okay. So now,
not in the Trump administration, Trump DOJ, no Bill Barr, no nothing. Not even going after him.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting. Mr. Zuckerberg, created a 501c3, which, by the way, when you have a 501c3 organization, you are not supposed to do anything political.
That's true. Very true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He created this 501c3 so that he could then fund it with $500 million so that they could do all kinds of shenanigans when it came to Democratic households, like, doing voter drives and pamphlets and all kinds of things for Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. So think about it. Is Mark Zuckerberg, that is illegal, by the way. It's a federal crime to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to see a single day in an overnight confinement like my husband did?
Nope.
No.
Not going to happen.
So Dinesh not only got 8 months in an overnight confinement for doing that, and he also got 5-year probation, 5-year community service, I think a $30,000 fine.
Wow.
And of course, a conviction in his record.
Right.
So I'm just saying it was something that, and had he known me, I would know all this, right? He could have given her however much money he wanted to give her had she had a PAC.
Mm-hmm.
Because a PAC, there's no limit with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right? There's no PAC. He could have bundled. He could have had like a big party, and the people do it all the time. I know bundlers here in Brownsville, and it's perfectly legal to do.
So again, if you can give that way, but not this way, the law is a little bit flawed, if you ask me.
It is. Oh, very much so. There needs to be, and you would have thought that the McCain-Feingold, McCain, may he rest in peace. I'm assuming he's up there, but he could be in purgatory for all I know. I don't know if he was Catholic. Sorry. Can I go back, Miss Producer? It's her mom. I have a daughter who has taught me lots. Love you, Debbie. That's her mom. So Miss Producer didn't know that. That's her mom. Although we knew she'd be watching. All right, next comment. Because you only have 4 more minutes with us. You have an op-ed in the El Americano.
El American.
Yeah, El American. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me like a minute about what it is, and because I don't want to keep you, I know you have to leave in 4 minutes. So, tell me what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this op-ed, I've written many. So go to El American and look me up, and you'll see all of my op-eds. I recently did an interview with this amazing woman from Venezuela about voter fraud in Venezuela.
Right.
Which actually took place in 2004, and they have never been able to recover. So my op-ed this time around is basically saying, I feel like we're living in a parallel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you look at the media, the mainstream media, even Fox News,
right.
You look at them, you would think that Biden won fair and square, and there's no debate about it, right?
Right, yeah.
If you look at the Epoch Times, which, by the way, is an amazing publication, you look at them, If you look at any Breitbart, any of the conservative publications, Newsmax, any of those, then you're like, wait a minute, there were all of these anomalies in the voter count, and everybody's just being okay with it, like move on, get past it, let's all be friends, let's sing kumbaya. Well, let me tell you something. My birth country became socialist because that was the only way to achieve it, through fraud. Okay. So
Wow.
I have warned people for a long time that the left in America is exactly like the left in Venezuela. And they also need a vehicle of being able, because see, here's the thing. If Biden and Harris had told people, you know what, we're socialists. Yes, we want to socialize America. Maybe not right away, but eventually we want to become a socialist country. Do you really think they would have gotten any votes? I mean, besides the Ocasio-Cortez lunatics, right?
Yeah.
No, because nobody wants that, right? So they were not honest about it. Hugo Chavez was not honest about it initially. That is why a lot of people voted for him that first time, because he lied. He said he was not a socialist. Even Fidel Castro said he was not a socialist. So all of these socialists that have become tyrannical in all these Latin American countries never said they were socialists to begin with. And once they got in and people got wind of the fact that they were, the only way to keep in power, especially in a country like Venezuela that was a republic, that was a democratic republic like we are, they had to cheat. He had to cheat in order to achieve his goal of becoming a socialist country. And so my articles have talked about that, not just this recent op-ed, but the ones that I've done a few weeks past are informative about that. Smartmatic was actually started by Hugo Chavez wanting a machine that could change the vote in the middle of the night. In other words, the other team was winning, and then all of a sudden at 2-3 o'clock in the morning,
It's over.
it reversed to him winning, right?
Wow.
And there is no way to go back, because what happens is that if you forensically open these machines, they're not going to say that oh, wow, look, there's fraud. No, because they're very sneaky about it. They make it in a way that it's very difficult to tell that they've been tampered with. And especially if you feed in, like, for example, who's to say that someone didn't fill out a voter card and just kept putting it in over and over and over again? That machine is not going to know that that person doesn't have a signature match. So, and if they destroy that, if they destroy the evidence, the paper trail, there's no way. So, unfortunately, listen, you have got to watch a documentary on Epoch Times, and it's about the election. If you watch it, there is no way that you can walk out of there and go, no, this was fair and square. It really wasn't. And it's a travesty that people are just, because listen, I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump. A lot of people don't, right? They think
I personally don't really like the guy, but I voted for him.
But it's not about Donald Trump.
It's not.
It's about the integrity of the election, and it's about the fact that if people believe, like in Venezuela, that their vote doesn't count anyway because it's already been decided who's going to win, then people are going to stop voting and they're going to stop engaging. And our republic that we know it as will become a banana republic. And so all my op-eds have been about that. This latest one was about that as well. And so I appreciate you giving me a plug on it.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I linked it on our page this afternoon. I meant to do it late last night, but we got a little busy with the late show, and I want to make sure people read it. If I post it in the middle of the night, not necessarily everybody will read it. So I posted it there if you want to see that op-ed. I know you need to leave, but I wanted to ask you one silly question. Hopefully I can have you back in a couple of weeks. I don't know, maybe right after the new year, unless you want to come next week. But there is rumors for District 34 that potentially Filemon Vela will be appointed. Axios had it where he might be Ag Secretary, Transportation Secretary, or possibly Commerce. Well, Ag and Transportation are gone, maybe Commerce. And if he were to get appointed to a cabinet position, they would have to be a special election, because I think he'd be one of those that the Senate would be like, yeah, fine, whatever, we'll just make him, be a cabinet secretary. You're originally from Harlingen. Would you ever consider running for that position in a special election? You should. You should, because I've heard rumors of some people that are going to run. I'm not happy about the rumors that potentially will run, and I will talk about it after the show. No,
actually,
maybe Dinesh.
We just want to say that we're endorsing you already.
Yeah. Well, I like Dr. Ray, but I want him to run for county judge. That's what I wanted.
You know what? I joke with Dinesh all the time about actually running for Texas Senate.
Yeah.
There you go.
John Cornyn, as we all know, is he just got elected, and so in 6 years he's going to want to run again. And people may or may not be happy with him in 6 years, and so I have maybe kind of toyed with the idea of running for that seat, but I don't really know. I'm a little bit, a lot of a germaphobe, so I kind of have to get past that.
Yeah, well, I'll help you with that. I will. I'm a germaphobe too, but you'd be surprised what happens when you run for office. So we'll talk about that another day, because I know you need to leave, and I don't want Dinesh mad at me. And so because at some point Dinesh will come on, and I don't want him mad at me. So guys, if you want to see Dinesh D'Souza, he's going to be on Fox at 9 o'clock with Laura Ingraham if you want to watch it. And Debbie will hopefully be back in a week or 2 or 3 or something.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell Dinesh hi for us.
Tamales with us.
And
yes.
Next time I'll come back for the whole hour.
No worries. It's okay. I understand. The fact that I had you for 30 minutes, I'm always happy because Debbie believes in our mission of the show to try to help, inform the Valley of the conservative cause, and also, give both sides. Because I've had Democrats on, and I have no problems doing that. So you having a national conservative activist and movie producer on our show, our small little tiny show, it helps us, and it helps the Valley, and helps her mom feel like, hey, maybe I'll go red. So thanks, Debbie.
Well, that is, as you know, that's my dream and my goal is to make the Valley red, because it is red. It is conservative.
Red is beautiful.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that, I believe that most of the people in the Valley believe in the platform of the Republican Party. They don't know it, and they don't understand it. Yeah. And I think that it is our job to teach it to them, to let them know that conservative values are Hispanic values. And so that is, to me, the key to understanding the difference between the two parties. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, if someone says, I vote Democrat, but I don't like abortion, then guess what? You like abortion, because you are by default voting for a party that not only advocates for abortion, but pushes for it. So
it's in their platform, essentially.
I don't know how you can make sense out of doing something like that, and so that to me is very sad, because I do believe maybe the Democratic Party wasn't like that before, but it certainly is now. And so if you vote for a party that is that way, then you'll have him up there to answer to.
All right. Well, so thank you, future Texas Senator. I'm going to say I knew you back when. Future replacement for John Cornyn, Debbie D'Souza for the next 6 years. That's what we're going to be working on now.
I'm going to go tweet, hey, John Cornyn.
No, don't do that, because then you're going to have to do a campaign finance report from now on. Don't you announce? And you don't need to do that. You can, don't do all that stuff, because then we're going to have problems. So God bless you.
I'll start getting some ballots ready for you.
No.
Have you ever heard of a machine called Smartmatic?
No. Don't say this. Don't say those. All right. God bless you, Debbie. See you soon. And Merry Christmas if we don't talk to you before then. God bless.
Bye, Mom.
All right. All right, guys. That was Miss Debbie D'Souza, Harlingen's own Debbie D'Souza. I apologize for not getting to as many of your questions you probably had on the comments, but sometimes some questions, take over. And so I apologize, but she will be back. it's not. So save those questions for her, and she will be back. I guarantee it. Oh wow! So you're gonna get the big square. So Miss Producer's gonna give. It's okay. He's a host. So if you don't mind putting some of these questions that we missed, maybe we could try to answer some, because I have a lot to say today.
Wow.
Yeah, I
You have
do. And
something to say
yes,
about
I do. And maybe we'll get into it in a late show as opposed to this show.
All right,
But
cool.
you know, we
Bring
you
it
know,
on.
I was mentioned today by not me. I know, not you, Roman, Miss Producer. Like some podunk little tiny blogger decided to mention my name today, and we'll talk a little bit about that little
Oh,
podunk
how
little
dare
blogger.
he?
I
Was it-
know. It's like it's crazy, nuts.
Oh my
Monty,
goodness!
have you heard?
No respect.
No respect for Roman.
No respect for Roman.
Have you heard? And again, I'm going to repeat this for little blogger, pseudo blogger, teacher, whatever.
There you go.
I read the comments because I can transcribe this little video and make it into a podcast if I so choose. And I don't know about you, and I don't know how your podcast works, but I don't have the ability, when I listen to a podcast, to be able to know what's being said. If like me and Ray's like, oh yeah, Marty said some stuff about this, they're not going to be able to see it and read it for themselves. I know it might be too complicated for you, little pseudo blogger. Have you heard of the political party in Spain, Paul Vox? One of their reps ripped the left a new one about the gendered language. No, I hadn't. But if you don't mind, sending us the link to the story and the messages, and maybe we can talk about it maybe tonight in a late show, or even now if you'd like to send it over. I had not seen that. Great, awesome, nice producer. Next comment, if you don't mind.
They're a far-right party. Wow.
Wow. It's crazy. My parents were so happy to see Infidel in Spanish last night. You have gained a new set of fans. They also saw all of your previous videos, including Trump card. Thank you. Oh gosh, I wish I would have had that one. Sorry, Claudia. Well, I'll make sure to mess. I'm hopefully we'll be able to talk to Debbie later on tonight, and so I'll make sure to tell her that. If not, make sure you post it when she's on next. Awesome. Next comment. Do you think that President Obama used the power of his presidency to target your husband and use the DOJ to open a criminal investigation as form of retaliation? She pretty much said it. So yeah, bro, bad.
That's definitely yes.
That's what he believes. Yeah. People think that if they vote for Democrats and end up in socialism, they will be able to backtrack and reverse the damage. It's very difficult, and we've seen that with like DACA, for example. I mean, maybe that's a bad example, where former President Barack Obama did DACA as an executive order, executive action type thing.
Yeah.
And President Trump tried to reverse it in his first year of his presidency. And then the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. So even that's very difficult. So yeah, I agree. What do you think, Ray? Mr. Host, not guest, non-guest, Mr. Host.
No, okay. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Yeah.
There you go. Next comment. Is that it, Mr. Producer? Oh, right. 100%.
100% right. Anna said so.
Hey, Irma, how you doing?
Hey, Irma.
Name the blogger I want to troll. Oh, I want to name the blogger.
Yeah, man.
It's the Brownsville Bacon. Oh, I'm sorry, Brownsville Beacon. He may need to lay off the bacon.
It's beacon or bacon?
Bacon?
Or is
I
it
don't know.
donuts?
I don't even go to his stinking blog.
Or is it
Okay, I guess we're caught up to the comments. No. Okay, so Ray, you're a host, but apparently you're now a guest of my show, and it's not my show; it's our show because he's a host. Because Diego, the Brownsville Bacon, doesn't seem to understand when he sees a video, because that goes to show you, Brownsville Bacon, that you don't actually watch our show.
Should he borrow my glasses?
He may need to borrow. Yes, I think he should, because if the video literally says host. Yeah. Ray's a host. This person's a host. So Brownsville Bacon today, and this is why I don't like the guy. I'm going to frankly say I don't like him, because he's a little teacher and at Hannah.
With
right?
little feet.
I don't know how little. I've never met the man. But I think he says he's met me, but he's not very bright. Trust me, I was probably the best history student at UT Brownsville. You were not. I graduated 4.0, guys. That should be evidence enough. Anyway, he's associated himself with the porn blogger. He's a teacher, and the way I say, yeah, you see, I didn't even read it. Because
maybe he's among good company.
I don't know. It bothers me that as a teacher that his nobody. I don't go to his blog, and I don't go to the porn blogger blog either. I just got to send a screenshot and said, "Hey Roman, look what was on the porn blogger's thing," and it's written by this Brownsville Bacon guy. And he decides he wants to write stuff. He calls me the prince of passive aggressive. Do you feel like I'm being a little passive aggressive right now? Because I think I'm pretty much being aggressive. I think I'm being very aggressive. Passive, I don't even know the definition of that. But I don't think he definitely doesn't know what the meaning of that is. But he goes out and he writes this absolute mega falsehood about Real Politics. And he says that I'm using Real Politics to run potentially for District 1 City Commissioner. Ray, you've known me a long time. Have I ever mentioned the idea of running for District 1? No. And he and I have a mutual friend. I'm not going to say who it is. And just for your reference, little Brownsville Bacon, I want to run for District 1 Commissioner. I want to sell our mutual friend my house. If I wanted to run for District 1, do you think I would name the page Real Politics? Because Rio is not really associated with Southmost, really. Rio is about the valley. Like you would think
about the valley, not about Brownsville. I mean, we talk about Brownsville, but in past shows, we brought in people that are not even associated with Brownsville at all.
Right, exactly.
Here, case in point, Debbie.
Exactly. And this is about the area. This is about national politics. This is what we talked about with Debbie. But so he just makes up stuff. He just says, a word around the campfire is he wants to run for District 1 City Commissioner. And I'm like, no, that's not even close. The words have not come out of my mouth because I haven't even thought it. So who told you this? Who are you speaking to? Are there voices somewhere? He's around the campfire. Maybe he's around the comal making, heating up some tamale or something.
Was there some?
No, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to. No, I will not say that. Absolutely not. That's wrong. That's wrong, Ray. Don't say those things. But or imply those things. I'm not. But I will say this. I'm not interested in running for District 1, and a real legitimate blogger. Before writing BS, because that's what it was, Mr.
Should have interviewed you.
Should have called me.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, and then you know what he said, Ray? You know what he said? That I interrupt my guests.
Well, hello. It's a conversation. It's okay to interrupt.
And you know why I know he's being obnoxious and dumb is because I've interviewed a certain someone, I'm not going to say who. And he literally told this person, wow, I was really impressed by Roman. Like, he let you talk. He's nothing like Erasmo. He let you talk. He asked you good questions. It was about you. It wasn't about him. And I know he said this because it happened. Because that's what I do. Yeah. So what changed? Brownsville Bacon, but I'm giving you way too much credit. Okay, I'm giving you way too much attention. I am, but you know why I'm doing it? Because I don't like fake news, and that's fake news about me. You're writing that I am interrupting my guests, which I didn't. How much? I should have asked Debbie while she was on. She's been on multiple times. Do I interrupt?
She seemed like she had a lot of fun with us here.
Yes,
and she gave us a lot of neat information. So,
Ray, do you think she would be on again if it was just me ranting and raving? No. No. I don't appreciate you bad mouthing the thing. I don't, but I will bad mouth you because you're a teacher, and have you ever defended people from the porn blogger? Have you? Women in particular from who were viciously attacked by the porn blogger? Right? Did you, Diego? Or do you like the fact that he copies your stuff and posts it on there? Have you vocally said, I don't want this guy putting my stuff up? Because I think that's really the only reason people know you're even blogging, Brownsville Bacon. Seriously, well, come on. Why would you say such stuff? Why would you? The guy's a porn blogger. He posts pictures of of full-on frontal nudity. He shows pictures of women's upper parts. He's shown to me he's showing misogynistic tendencies, and you're okay, but you're a teacher.
Yeah.
And you allow that to happen to your writing. The moment that guy does stuff about me, I don't want my name associated. I don't want him promoting me and say, Roman's doing a great job. Oh, no. But you don't seem to have a problem with it, do you? Do you, Brownsville Bacon? No. You just want to trash my blog, whatever. But exactly, this is not written by me. It's written by Miss Producer, because you see my hands. Like, I mean, Ray, I don't know how many shows he's seen. Maybe he saw one, but I know he saw multiple ones because I've had at least one time. I know almost for a fact, because I trust the person who told me this. And I was, you know what I said, Brownsville Bacon, after he told me that, right? After I said, look, I would love to have him on the show. I'd love to interview him.
Well, we need to bring him on so he can come up front with,
Yeah, I mean, he could have called me.
Hey, show us the goodies,
He could have asked for my number. He could have texted me. No, I'm not going to even worry. His name doesn't matter. We're just going to call him the Bacon. His name doesn't matter. He really doesn't.
Bacon bits.
It's just like, I don't understand. Like, just, I feel like I am fair with everybody. I feel like I am, and for you to trash me the way, granted, it wasn't even horrible. Like, I'm seriously like that, but I don't take kindly to fake news. You don't go around telling me, hey, Sochi, how you doing? Welcome. You don't go around telling people that Roman wants to run for District 1 because that's news around the campfire, as though you have connections to a whole bunch of people, because I don't think you really do. But even if you did have connections to a whole bunch of people, I've never said it. I've never thought it. I want to sell my house and move away. We've actually, me and my family have contemplated moving up to the Mid Valley so I could be closer to my mom, because my mom has had problems. We were, I did think it's insane for somebody to be making up stuff like that without at least contacting me and not spreading vicious rumors, because word around the campfire, campfire that he wants to do what you want. And he really doesn't, he interrupts his guests, it's all about him. And it's like, but the guest, I guess Ray's a guest, and I guess I should be asking questions. Maybe you should be asking questions over the guest.
Was the guitar out of tune?
I don't know, man. I'm just really disappointed. Miss Producer's asking who, I'm not going to say the name. How am I going to get him on here? Maybe I'll tell you after the show. Maybe you can get him on here. If you say nothing, I'll let you know after the show. Roman, can I suggest to you all, when you have the time to see Oscar Eblu from Border Networks News, check out his video post today titled Massive Exile 2021. Thanks to Joe Biden. This guy's awesome. Yeah, you know what? Do me? Is he on YouTube or is he on Facebook? Let me know, and I will try to make time to watch it. I will, because you mentioned it last night and I haven't. But as I said before, I don't always have time for barely me and stuff, because I know it's hard to believe, but I am a stay-at-home dad, and I try to spend time with my son as much as I possibly can, because he's growing up too fast. Okay, he is.
They do. Kids grow up really fast. One moment to another. Hey.
Yeah. Oh my God, my little boy is getting so big, and he's getting very smart at it, and I don't know where he's getting it from.
Well, guess what? The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, and I love my kiddos. I mean, it's all like Cartman. Oh, you want me to do a Cartman? That was not my Cartman. That was not my Cartman.
Stay away me like that. Oh my God, that guy was being so mean to Roman.
Not even Cartman. That's not even Cartman. That's not even there. I have a way of persuasion, as a Miss Producer says. So I appreciate, and you know what, guys? You all are the ones that come here on our show. You're the ones that come here and you comment. And you've all seen what I want to try to do with the page. And I'm sorry I'm taking 15 minutes to talk about a nobody. But I feel you all would not be wasting your time whenever you come on and watch when I interview people. And Ray wouldn't be wasting his time with me.
No, not at all. It's very informative. It's like, we see the true pictures. We see the true colors coming out, and you got to know. Otherwise, you're not going to make educated decisions when it comes time to vote. And we got to be informed of what's going on in the city or in the county or the state, or in this case even national.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the knowledge is power, and without it, we're gonna be led in the wrong direction.
And you know, to be fair, it is, you know, you know, the one person we have as a mutual friend is I care a lot about her and her family and her success, and I don't want to put her in the middle of be in this bacon guy,
Right.
and I don't want to do that, and it almost feels like he did this out of the blue, and that's what I feel. That's my feelings. I
Yeah.
don't have any evidence of it. It's just my feelings, and I think I have an opinion, but it's not a rumor. It's not a rumor. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that. But come
Well,
on.
when they talk about you, you matter.
Okay, Oscar El Blue is both on Facebook and on YouTube. Cool. What times are his shows? I will look on his page. I will look him up and stuff. Oscar El Blue. I will most definitely do that. And I'm wearing blue, so I'll try to remember that today. Anyway, guys. Yeah, we're gonna do just so you FYI, we're gonna do a late show tonight at 10:30. Ray is gonna be on, so we're gonna talk about good stuff and good stuff. And so this show is more of a. You all know the 7:30 show is more. Try to do a little bit more formal than the late show. But Miss Producer says she has cheese mint. She has cheese mint. But is it for like now, Miss Producer? Or is the cheese mint for like the late show? Hey, Veronica, just tuning in, blessing. Veronica is going to be with us at Real Politics on Monday. And so we're going to talk about Republican cheese mint. I'm sure she's heard of. And we're going to have a great conversation. and Veronica is a wonderful, wonderful person. And she knows I want her to run for county chair. Yeah, and everybody knows that Roman Bettis, would like for her to run for county chair of the Republican Party because I think she would be a massive asset to our community.
And we at Ted's talk show Central RTV will endorse her.
Oh, I did not know you could endorse.
I mean, we've picked up our status.
Oh my gosh, you and Sharky are already endorsing Veronica for county chair of the Republican Party.
Definitely,
Okay, Miss Producer is saying two things. Miss Deaton is awesome, very classy. That's what Miss Producer said, and followed up by, I hope that endorsement means writing a check, Ray.
Of course, Royal Industries.
Well, no, don't say that because she hasn't filed her paperwork. No pledges. You see, you already got an endorsement, and if I will endorse, you pretty much already have my endorsement. But then again, I'm a Democrat. But for you, Veronica, I would vote in that horrific party primary for you.
We flipped them.
I would do it for you, Veronica, because I think, I think that Veronica, she showed so much class. Every step of the way when she ran for district clerk.
Yes.
And I think the party needs to change, and I think she would be a great asset. She's an organized individual. I think that's what we need for the conservative movement in the Valley, and that's just it. I know that's going to make people get really mad at me for saying this publicly already, but I know the filing deadline's a year away, but why not start now? I appreciate your kind words. Let's see what God has. Exactly.
And get ahead of the game.
There you go. Okay, but I don't want. Veronica is a wonderful human being, and so I was there. I was very happy to vote for so many people, good, honest, good people on this election cycle, and she was one of them. Sochi, Miss Deaton, Sochi loves Miss Deaton. She does. All right, guys. Ray, how was your day? I didn't even ask you how your day was.
Well, let's see. What did I do today? I had lunch. It was great lunch, good talk. And
did anybody take a picture of you having lunch? Did anybody take a picture of you having lunch?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure, the paparazzis are out there all the time.
Miss Producer says, he did? Yes. And she has a picture. Miss Producer.
I know. But anyway, then I came back and I did some chess lessons. I did a chess lesson in Dallas, online, of course.
Oh, my goodness. You flew all the way to Dallas?
No, online.
With Corona? Don't you know there's coronavirus in Dallas? What are you doing?
I was here online on my computer. I had like 20 kids over there teaching the class,
Roman,
and then I came over and I worked on this show and
and then had to listen to Roman, but I think you enjoyed
this guy.
Oscar, maybe we can have him on. Let me watch a few of his shows, and I'm sure we can maybe.
Look at that. Sharky says 100% approval on the endorsement.
No, you cannot give her money yet, Sharky. She hasn't even announced. Don't be promising things. You're gonna get me in trouble. And so how do I haven't, let me ask you some questions about your chess interview style, because I haven't in chess interview style, your chess lessons, and what started you while we have a few minutes. When did you were a photographer before?
Well, actually, I started playing chess really early on, probably in the second grade or so. I started in the Brownsville Boys Club. I used to hang out there and the whole bit, and I was actually a basketball player. And one day I saw these two coaches, which is Felix Garza and Bean Ayala. Bean Ayala from the Chamber.
Really, Bean?
Yeah.
Bean, who got it. I love Bean.
Yeah. He used to work at the boys club, at the original boys club on 8th Street. And so they were playing chess on stage, and I was down over here by the pool tables, and I walked over there, and I was just fascinated by the game. And so after they finished, I asked him, I think I asked Bean, hey Bean, can you show me how to play? And so every day for a year we would play 3 games. And of course I would lose every day. But I would go to the library and I would read some books on chess, and then I would practice on my own chess set. And after about a year, I finally was able to maybe get a good game, and I think eventually I beat him. But, he was always a stronger player. And so from there, that carried on, and I just, everything became chess. Basketball became chess, everything I did, because chess, what it does, it just allows you to use your strategies and, all of that kind of deal. And so, I played chess. When I was at Cummings in the 6th grade, I was part of the Hannah team, or the Brownsville High School team back then. Because when I finally got to Hannah, that was the first year that it was Hannah, and so we were the first freshman class. But I've been playing all along, and so finally after I graduated, went to college, and I didn't play chess anymore. Then I became a photographer, traveled all over South Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and ended up in Puerto Rico. Came back to Brownsville in 2000, and that's when I started chess again, because they invited me to a tournament, and I saw, wow, all these kids, there were like 900 kids playing chess. When I was playing chess, if there was 50 kids playing chess, that was like a huge chess tournament. And so then people reckon, hey, you used to play chess, you used to carry your chessboard all the time, and this and that. Hey, can give my kids some pointers. And so, okay, come over to the studio, and pointers started turn into lessons, and lessons started turn into private lessons. And 20 years later, I'm still doing chess, and I shut down my photography business. So and so now, I do lessons all over the valley. Of course, now I'm doing lessons in Dallas, and I do a couple of lessons in New York and stuff like that. And it's all.
Are you ranked in any way, shape, or form? Do you have any ranking points, or you don't compete?
I am ranked, but I don't compete. So I don't. I'm more of a teacher. I'm kind of like, I'll say this: I'm not the Michael Jordan of chess.
Yeah.
But. Or rather, no, hold on. Yeah, something like that. When Michael Jordan wanted to become a basketball coach, he just didn't. He wasn't great at it, but he's the best basketball player ever. I'm the great coach, and not so much the great chess player.
El Bad Hombre is asking. I don't know if this is the question for me, or if you're asking if this was left over. We just barely got, because sometimes
left over. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, but why do you frequently use the term socialism as a trigger word to stereotype all Democrats? You voted Trump. Are you still a Republican or just a Trump follower? I'm not a Republican. I am a conservative. I've been a conservative since, I think I realized I was a conservative in 1991, back when I was in middle school. And am I a Trump follower? No, I actually, in 2016, I did not vote for him. I think that I did not like I didn't think he was going to be a president like a conservative. I didn't feel that he was going to be anything but a turncoat liberal. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to support that. I didn't like the ugly tweets. I didn't like the locker room talk that he did I just didn't like any of that. I didn't like that he was a serial, and a person who cheated on his wife. That's not something I believe. I'm a socially conservative type of guy. It's just who I am. So I didn't vote for him, and plus I was a Ted Cruz supporter in the primary, And so I just didn't vote for him. But I let the last 4 years, and I realized that his actions were not, his policies were conservative. I ignored the fact that he was loud and obnoxious, and you try to do that as much as you possibly can. But he governed like a conservative in many respects, and so I was fine with that. And so I voted for him on that sense. But am I a Trump follower? Nope, I'm not. Now, why do I use socialism? No, it's not a trigger word. It's just I actually use more woke as a term now, because I see a lot of younger folks be very, very woke. And they seem to like, I know more about the world than you do. The idea of changing words matter, and it bothers me that they want to change words and the meanings of words from night and day. I mean, you had the dictionary one day to the next say that one word is some sort of Miss Producer saying triggering someone brings good conversation. That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. There's some
But
truth to that.
the words and the language. I mean, the English language is being torn apart. We're eventually going to lose the English language. And
Speaking of the English language, Netflix, if you have not seen The Madman, The Professor and the Madman, it stars Mel Gibson and Sean Penn. It has Natalie Dormer in it, and it's a beautiful story of the making of the Oxford English Dictionary and the story of words. It's a beautiful film. I mean, the history is very good. So if you like period pieces, especially Victorian period England, it's a great film. And I'm not a Sean Penn fan. That's just me. Yeah. I'm very much a Mel Gibson fan. I like a lot, except for maybe Mad Max. I've loved pretty much every film he's done. Yeah. So I recommend it. I highly recommend that film.
Wow.
And so if you haven't seen it, and use words, our vocabulary is so different now. It is so dumbed down. Even me, and I feel, and I'm ashamed to say it. I'm ashamed to say that my vocabulary isn't what it used to be. And I don't know what's happened, but so I'm gonna put.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
It's true. I mean, and they use a lot of big words in that film. You might have to look it up in a dictionary, and it's great writing. Very cool film, and I watched them. It's a great movie. It's a great film. And I want to make sure my wife sees it. It was very, very, very good, very enjoyable. Anyway, so but as far as socialism, I don't really use the word as much. But do I think there's a lot of socialism happening? Yes. Definitely, the younger they you've seen in Poland, they seem to have no problems with socialism, and it's been embedded into the educational system. They make the argument, Social Security is a form of socialism. Well, yeah, it was started in essentially a socialist president that was FDR in the 1930s with the Great Depression. So they're sort of the welfare state. I sent you back. Oh, Miss.
No.
Sorry, I sometimes stutter, so forgive me. It wanted to come out, so I wanted to call it. I sent you a pic.
Cool.
I sent you a pic. So, Miss Producer, if you can look it up and get it for us, that'd be great. So we can see the pic that Miss Sharky's in. It better be rated PG, Sharky. I know where your mind works.
Sharky, man. Sharky's gonna.
Oh, good job.
Oh my goodness. Gosh. So
all right. So continue on the conversation of chess. So now you are a full-fledged. This is what you do full time.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years, and every day, I basically my week is this way. Or actually, the beginning of the year, I schedule people for the rest of the year. Every Monday at 5:00, same student until the end of school. During the holidays, of course, as the kids are available during the day, we have a different schedule, and of course, in the summer, it's totally different schedule. But my Mondays is the same every Monday. From the time school starts till the end of the summer, every Monday's the same. I'll have the same kid. One at 4, one at 5, one at 6, one at 7, one at 8. Sometimes I do lessons till 10:00. It just depends. Now, right now, I'm not doing as many lessons as I would if the kids were able to compete face to face. But yeah, that's how it is. Right now I'm probably working with about 20 kids, whereas on regular non-COVID, I would probably be working between maybe 30 or 40 kids a week.
Yeah. I don't did we have we talked about the whole cheating scandal that's happening with chess players? Have we talked about that? I don't know. We
No,
did.
but yeah, I mean they're taking care of it. They have engines that figure out what's going on. Actually, there was a situation with a player um, at two nationals ago, and this was in Nashville, and this was what was he? He was a middle school player, and he was ranked somewhere in the 1600s. The major competitors go 1800 and above, probably 2000 and above. And so this kid had they play 7 rounds, and this kid had gone 5-0, had won 5 rounds. Probably some 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, which is okay because you can win 400 points difference. You can win or lose, somewhere in there. But normally the higher ranked players should always win the game. So he finally got to that point, and then when he got to the sixth round,
Mhm.
he played a 2000, and he wound up winning the game. And so they were looking at the game, and I was not in the area that day, but story is that the guy brought a hoodie, or he was wearing a hoodie the whole time, so he probably had an earpiece, and he would be like really down right here, so you couldn't see his face, and he would just make these moves. And so what they did is on the 7th rank for the championship, he was going to play the champ, and so they told him, you know what, you need to remove your hoodie, and obviously, we said we feel that this is going on and all that, and so. And he was going to the restroom a lot. And so when he played, he lost miserably because he didn't have the aid of, the earpiece and all that. And so, it was very obvious that he was cheating.
Yeah.
And his rating climbed up like 400 points. So he was like 16. No, I think he got maybe to 1900, something like that.
Mhm.
So when he came back to compete, he was scheduled to play against one of my students, and I already knew this, so I told my student, this is what you're gonna play against him, and you're gonna play this line and the whole thing. And my student was probably 1400, which he should have lost to him. He should have lost big time to him. But that's still how I train my kids. So he took him on, and sure enough, my student won. And again, all of a sudden, after that whole year, he wound up going lower than the rating that he had taken the nationals because he just couldn't win anymore. And
Is it
and
possible
so
he
I mean
just
he would
lost?
win
He
some,
was
but the
he
kid
was.
was cheating up there, and
But is it
so
possible that he just because chess players tend to lose confidence, right?
well,
They
yeah,
they
that's
start
true.
they
Yeah.
go into a rut and they just can't
Yeah, yeah.
figure it out, and they just
Well, you get
quit.
scared, especially if you're not trained. You don't have a coach that's there picking
Mhm.
you up, telling you, "Hey, you know what? You're awesome. You can do this. Do this against this kid."
Mhm.
And you're coaching them after the game. Hey, what happened? This is what you do. Next
Mhm.
time you do this is what's going to happen, and so on. And a lot of my coaching is more just being a cheerleader. I got to pep these guys up. I got to make sure these guys are lift up their self-esteem, make sure they're sure of what they're going to do, make sure they know every move, make sure they can handle every stage of the game. And it's not just a game,
Mhm.
you got to not only prepare his game, but you have to prepare his mind, and you got to prepare his heart. You got to make sure he's a champion. Yeah, he can know the moves, but if he's not a champion, his heart's not in it, he's not going to perform.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Yeah.
and so we've had that. There's some other issues, but
Mhm.
pretty much they take care of it.
That
I'm a
I'm
judge sometimes on certain tournaments, and like one time there was this guy. We were in Houston, and Rohan, which is from Brazil, he's a 2000 rated player. He's a little kid. He was probably in the 4th grade or something. He was playing some high school kid up in Houston, and the high school kid was probably a 2000 or something like that. They were both high rated guys, and there's this thing called touch move. So that means if you touch a piece, you must move it, or if you touch the opponent's piece, you must capture. And so anytime you touch a piece, you have to move it. And so Rohan made some move or something. He made a move, and somehow with his sleeve or with his wrist, he touched a piece, and the other kid goes touch move, right? All right, so so I happened to be the judge on that section. So I came up and they, so what happened? Okay, well, he did this, and I look at the kid and I said, what's your rating? And he told me, like, real proud, I'm like 19 something. I go, okay, so tell me, how do we move the pieces? How do we move the pieces? Well, with your hands, right? So did he touch it with his fingers? Well, no. And I go, you're trying to call this rule, which is really illegal in the whole bit, and you're 1900. I mean, shame on you. And little Rohan, this little guy, he's just looking at me like, wow.
Yeah, but it's true. You're trying to take advantage of a fourth grader.
That's the fact that hey, I used it was ridiculous, and so they try to get away with stuff, especially I guess against us, down here in the valley,
I get it.
because they say, because Mexicanito. Now he's got no Latin blood, he's more like Indian, I think. But still, and that's what we were talking about the other day. The kids down, a lot of times we're not prepared to go up there to the major tournaments, college and all that, because it's the self-esteem is not there. The idea of you belong here is not there sometimes.
Yeah.
And so
while we have a few more minutes before we take off, guys, I know last night are you not in education system as a professor? Why are you blaming the education system indoctrination? Do you think the lack of family values leave Gen X Zen generation valuable? I teach at a university. That's what I do at part-time, and I enjoy it. Why do you think blaming the education system indoctrination? Because I've seen it. I've seen it in what has happened to kids, coming in, whether the indoctrination in school, indoctrination inside because of what you see in movies, what you see in the press, and what you see in magazines, things like that, where you are saying that the whole idea, like the Latinx thing, having to explain to somebody that the progression of the Mexican American generation, the Chicano generation, the Hispanic generation, and now the Latino generation, which is the progression of Hispanics, or that's what's happened. And now they want to change it. Oh, the internet going away for you, Ray?
Go for it. Keep going.
Okay, cool. All right, good job. The idea of now we're going to do Latinx, even though it's only being used by 2 or 3% of the population, but that is the indoctrination. Like, you need to be using this word. And that is the word that you must use now, and it makes no sense for them to be using that word, because there is in Spanish, and if you're Hispanic, you should understand that there's Latino, Latina. Latino represents everybody. That's what you have to do. But there are two genders in the language, and to use this whole idea of Latinx, it's not part of the Spanish language. And the idea of starting to use Latino, and if you understand the history of the word and the classification, Hispanic was something that came up in for the 1980 census, because they didn't want to call Hispanics white. And so they said white, non-Hispanic, white, Hispanic. And so they came up with this word. And the idea of Hispanic is because of Hispaniola, because that is where the island where Christopher Columbus landed, and is supposed to be the joint of the old world and the new world, because not all Hispanics are brown like me. Some of them are white like my in-laws, white looking, blue eyes. Or I had grandparents that were blue. They were Hispanic, but they were
Aztecs or Mayans or the Spaniard, because the Mexican race does not exist, has never existed. We're a race that came out of Aztecs, Mayans, Spaniards, and so we were created. So that's something that people don't understand. Because of the cultures, the Chinese were there forever. I guess at some point they weren't. But because however it got, but they're old races. I mean, the Mexican race is fairly young. I mean, we call them Mexican race, but they're fairly young. I guess we're the baby race when it comes to races. We're the baby race,
And so if you understand that part of the Hispanic word and where it came from, there was a pushback amongst more indigenous people that wanted to get away from the Eurocentric, what they felt was Hispanic word or label, was Eurocentric. And so they went the other extreme and said, no, we want to go with Latino, because that represents all of us, the Latino, the indigenous stuff. And now you have people that are essentially, no, we don't want to be Latino anymore because that's just rude, that's mean, and somehow we're going to be Latinx, and Latinx doesn't appear in the Spanish language. Latino does in the Spanish language, but Latinx doesn't. And so why are we going like this where we're like, no, we don't want to do Hispanic because that's white. We're going to go Latino and now we're going to go Latinx. And it just make up your mind. And for me personally, I think the Latinx thing is an insult. And it's part of this whole idea of there are many genders and there's many, sex doesn't matter anymore, things like that. For me, it's just like that makes no sense when it comes to the language. And if you want to be Latino, and I don't refer to myself as Latino because of the fact that I was born in the 80s, and if you're born in the 80s, generally speaking, you're going to call yourself Hispanic. Just like if you're and plus I'm in Texas, and Texans tend to refer to themselves as Hispanic, Texans that are or Tejanos. And unless you're in California, you refer to yourself as Chicano. Because that's the word that they came up with that they liked and they wanted to represent their generation. That's why you get George Lopez. Even George Lopez still calls himself Chicano.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, or maybe Jose Angel Gutierrez. You know, the Crystal City refers to
Rodriguez and those guys.
Yeah, those guys. They're Chicano. They're Chicano. That's what they are. But so I'm Hispanic. So I don't really accept necessarily even the Latino thing. But I'm growing. It's growing on me. But the idea of Latinx,
it's so confusing, man. So many labels, I don't know. When I write, I still write the old way, It's the masculine words, that you use in the language, a lot of times,
So for me, that's part of the indoctrination, that to me is maybe I'm wrong, but same thing in girl sports. We would see how others treated them in other spaces. Yeah. I mean, now you have the idea of, well, so a biological man should be competing as a woman, or what is a woman now? Like,
because I feel like a woman, so I can compete in the women's section or whatever.
Why not use the term mestizo? That's a good idea, maybe to use the mestizo, but that's not been accepted in the United States in terms of classifying our ethnicity. And again, we're not a race, it's our ethnicity. It has not been accepted. But I think a Latino is a good word. I think it's a good mix to a certain extent. But in Texas, we still use Hispanics, and I think I will continue to call myself Hispanic until I die. But I think the Latino is a good name. I don't think Latinx is. I mean, I don't know if you know Dr. Tony Zavaleta. Even he and I, we don't agree on politics very much, but on this issue, he and I, we definitely agree. Like, he's adamantly against the Latinx thing because it's insulting. I'm Mexican American. Okay, well,
well, that's the other term. Yeah, I'm more that. I'm more Mexican American, because that's what we grew up with. Mm-hmm. And really that comes from the confusion. I think I've said it before. You're born in the United States, but then you have family across the border. Wherever it is. And my case, it was San Luis Potosí. But my dad was from the United States. My mom was over there. Now she's a United States citizen. But my dad's family was from Chihuahua, and so there you go. So we all have our roots over there in Mexico. But I was born here, so what am I? Am I Mexican or am I American? I mean, you're born in the United States, so I need to give my allegiance to the United States. Do I have my heart over there? Well, no, I've never lived over there. But you know what? A lot of the culture I do have from over there. I mean, I listen to the Spanish music. I watch the Spanish, the late movies. The Mexican movies. All that. Pedro Infante, Agustin Lara. All of these. I don't know, whatever. But the thing is, the culture's there, and of course you get religion in there too, and the culture's there, and so
Well, Ms. Producer is saying if you were born here, you are American with Mexican heritage. That's right. Yeah, and do you want me to say what you're telling me about Ozzy? Y'all skipped two of my comments. For Ozzy's comment, I'm keeping this topic comments coming, then going back to yours. That's what Ms. Producer said. Okay, sorry, just letting you know. So she's trying to get the comments together. The idea of the Mexican American generation is that period between the 1920s all the way up until about the 1960s, buttressing the Chicano generation. Yeah, and so people like Judge Reynaldo Garza, Judge Filemon Vela, not senior. That generation, or Dr. Hector P. Garcia of the American GI Forum. those leaders or the LULAC the organization that started in 1927. So that generation, Mexican American, but it also typified the fact that you now have essentially a border patrol that didn't really exist until the early 20th century.
Oh, not at that volume.
Exactly. And so now these Mexicans that were used to living on both sides of the border decided to choose here and stay here in Texas. And so this idea of the hyphenization, you have German Americans, you have Italian Americans. Well, Mexican Americans as a hyphenization culture, it was a little bit late. And so I think, these generations to me are so important. I think they're very helpful. And as a historian, and I am a historian, it's important to do that. So I hope that understands and I helps you, El Bad Omer. I love your questions, and I don't take any offense to your questions. I think your questions are great, and I appreciate them. Ray is right. American. I hated the term Texican mentioned during the Texas Revolution.
Well,
I'll go with that. I like Tejano. Hey, Robert. I like Tejano. Tejano was great.
Yeah.
Tejano was great. Tejano was great. So I appreciate. I appreciate your commentary. Okay, Ozzy. What would you suggest to lower the cost of medical care without socializing it? I'd like to think we'd be in consensus when I say healthcare is extremely expensive. No, it is very expensive. It is expensive. There was something. Eder Hernandez, the physician's assistant. He posted something because in a commentary, I think Erasmo posted, and those of you who think, Romans always and Erasmo are always fighting. We're friends. We do that. But, there is use for Erasmo. And I think some of the things that he posts sometimes when people feel like today, I think it was today or maybe yesterday, he posted that they had some sort of exorbitant insurance costs or something at one of the local standalone ERs. And so Eder was saying, well, that's why you're not supposed to go to those standalone ERs to get tested for coronavirus. Go to your PA, go to your normal clinic, or go to the sports park if are they still doing the sport? I don't know. I don't think Eder's doing it anymore. And so that's what you do to lower your costs. You try to be in network. But yeah, you're right. It's very, very high. And I don't think, I'm not a social scientist when it comes to healthcare. But I would venture to say, and my general guess is that the prices have not gone down because of Obamacare. I think it's gotten a little bit worse. I think that's just me. I mean, Bray, were you ever in Medicaid, Medicare growing up in any way, shape, or form? No. See, I was.
We never went to the hospital. We never went to the doctor. I mean, if I've gone to visit a doctor 20 times in my lifetime, I don't think I would even reach 20 times in my lifetime that I visit a doctor. I think I would probably. It would probably be pretty hard for me to say that I've even visited a doctor in my lifetime 10 times.
Yeah. Well, I can say, I am disabled. I have muscular dystrophy. And when I was younger, a teenager, I received Social Security because I was disabled. I got married and I lost it because my wife made too much money because they combine. A lot of people don't realize this. For people who are disabled, you're not just that you're physically disabled. You have to be financially disabled as well in order to receive it. But while I was under that socialized medicine, essentially for Medicaid, I saw the heartache, the difficulty it was to see your doctor because the doctor you wanted to choose because who you had. And it's only gotten worse for people who are social in that they're almost pigeonhole you having to deal with all these different types of, like HealthSpring and all those other ones that exist. And it can be very complicated. And even me, as I believe I'm an educated person, I'm pretty sure I'm educated. I could only imagine what people have to go through. So jumping the hoops.
Yeah,
but that's socialized medicine for you.
The rate's so high. I mean, and then the deductibles even higher. It's like
yeah, it's very difficult. So
I don't know.
Ozzy, I don't ever pretend to have all the answers. What would I suggest to lower the cost of medical care without socializing? I think one of the things is, I think one of the taxes that in Texas they've done is to lower improved tort reform, and the argument is essentially if you don't get people to be able to sue these doctors with all these things, then they don't have to pay these exorbitant insurance fees, and then that doesn't pass down into for the consumer or the patient. And so that was a tactic. I'm not sure if it worked in Texas. I know that I think we've gotten better doctors. I think we should be able to have the ability to pay cash on some things. I mean, there's no reason for some of these doctor visits to be so expensive. But a lot of it is because it's insurance. Private insurance is willing to pay for it, and then you have Medicaid that's willing to pay certain things, and so they increase the cost. It's kind of like what happens with the Pell Grant, where you go to, and I've seen it. Me and Erasmo have both seen it. When he was SGA president at UTB, I saw it when I was part of student government, where you would see the school, the community, the TSC College Board of Trustees, they would keep raising the fees and the student tuition and say, what does it matter when so many of our students, a big chunk, a grand majority of our students are in Pell Grant, they're never going to feel it because Pell Grant keep going up and up. So as long as they keep getting, and it's just like a game of, what's the game? What kind of game would be like? We just playing catch up.
Yeah. I was at TSC in 70, 79, 80, and I was part of the student board of student advisory board, and we saw it back then, and of course back then, we didn't see too much, but compare those to now, I mean, it's gone up, it's gone up.
Yeah, upload as a podcast. I would certainly love to listen at other times, just in case I missed the live show. It's something I've thought about in terms of doing the audio thing, but I would have to get some more space for the site. I'd have to be, and it's a possibility. I just don't know if there's a market for it. I haven't seen them. I mean, I've seen the growth. I've seen people watch our show, which I appreciate and I love. And I think Ray's bought a lot of stuff.
But that would be more for interview stuff,
right?
The comments,
and the thing is,
but it's not the same.
I would probably have to change we would have to do a completely different show where your comments don't do anything. I would have, it would just be a conversation. And I do listen to other podcasts. That's why when you mentioned the idea of Lucien and Blue, it's like, well, I'd have to make time. I barely have time for my own show because I do listen to other podcasts. One of my friends has a podcast that I listen to her show. Hey, Robert. So I'd have to change the format for that to be a little bit different than what he has. It's time to stop checking boxes for purposes of identification. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah,
I'm Hispanic, proud USA American citizen. I agree with you, Robert. I absolutely agree. Proud USA citizen is what Robert's saying. Miss Producer is saying it's not producer approved yet. LOL. That's what she said. No podcast, not producer approved yet. Until she approves it, then we're good. Obamacare is crazy. I had to pay $350 a month and a $7,000 deductible for one person. Hell no. Thank you, Trump, for not penalizing me anymore. Biden and team will turn this country into a socialist country. Very possible. Look, it's Robert Camacho. Look forward to a great debate. Can't wait. And Doc, where have you been? I was waiting for you to comment earlier. Let's do it because I wanted to talk about Cummings. I didn't know you were here. Doc, I kind of want to bring you on to talk about Cummings. I really do. I'm serious about it. So I want to figure out when I can bring you on because it's already 9:00, and I know some of y'all go over to Erasmo's show. I don't know why you would go right now because you're going to wait like 10 minutes of him saying hello.
Well, he just started.
So if you want to wait, with us for a few more minutes, you're not going to miss much. Tonight at Late Show or a few minutes now. I think tonight Late Show, if possible. Yeah. We can talk a little bit because I want to talk about Cummings and what happened with the BISD thing tonight. Yesterday, damn, so came to my mind. You're funny, Eddie. But yeah, so we'll do a Late Show tonight at 10:30. That's our plan. Remember, Roman Ray, when you all get the Trump vaccine, you still got to wash your hands, wear your mask, and keep 6 feet apart. You do. That's what Dr. Fauci said, I think, true. Right? And Dr.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole principle of it,
Yeah, there you go. 2 people center, 1 person leaves. Oh, my God. And and you're doing the Hulk. Give me a call. Yeah, I can. And that, you know what? I'll give you a call. I'll figure something out because I need to call my wife because I need her to come home. So we're planning on 10:30. We're planning on 10:30, but it might be pushed to 11. It just depends on when my wife comes home. Because it just, but if it changes to 11 o'clock, I will try to post it, but I'm shooting for 10:30. Okay, guys, I really will try to be here 10:30. All right, guys, Obama and team did a lot to things that's strong against the Bible. One being transgenders and women restrooms with little girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll get into more of that topic in the late show. God bless each and every one of you.
Hey, y'all have a good evening.
Even you, Brownsville Bacon. Even you. I'll pray for you. I will, and I'm not being facetious. I will, because I don't know why you said some of the things that you said, and it really bothers me. No, Miss Producer says yes, you are. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, look it, but I'm not. I will pray for you. To convert you from being mean to me for no reason. I will. Yeah, didn't even say that with a straight face. Yes, I did.
May the blessing of RPB upon you.
No, I don't use the hands. I'm Catholic, and I believe the only people who could do that are priests or bishops that have been ordained with the oils of the hand to do the blessing. I don't do the Hail Hitler like everybody else after Mass when they're doing blessing for marriages, because it's like there's nothing there, guys.
Hallelujah, brother.
That's very Protestant. Okay, God bless each and every one of you, seriously, and
This is Real Politics. We don't make the news, we help you see it. Good night, everyone.